Playing Last Epoch makes you feel like you're smooth sailing over the ocean. The game is very well made, and I want to applaud the devs for this. There's lots of quality of life things, the gameplay feels good, and it's easy to jump into and understand. Last Epoch is a hack and slash indie shooter fighting adventure game, adventure early access game, according to Google. To be honest, I'm starting to think that Google just randomizes keywords for genres in games. It's an action RPG, bro. You level up, get gear, and fight shit. The story's a bit convoluted. Basically, you live in a world called Eterra. You travel across multiple timelines where something has gone wrong, and you are trying to fix it, usually by killing some powerful being. Each of the class characters you play also have their own backstories, like the Acolyte. She had a master who was kind but useless.
My master was a kind man, but he was as useless as the others.
And like Blizzard with Diablo Immortal, her ambitions led her to join the dark side and start practicing the forbidden magics. While she was literally, not figuratively, sucking the soul out of a corpse, the Popo caught her and exiled her, allowing her to just adventure and practice her magic to become strong instead of just beheading her. You can play Last Epoch with mouse and keyboard, and even though Steam says partial controller support, this guy said this. Read it if you care. Moving on, Last Epoch is only available for these operating systems on PC, however console gamers can possibly rejoice because this guy, who's apparently one of the devs, said this on Reddit. Take that as you will. Lastly, here's the menu settings. Graphically, the game looks like a fairly standard ARPG. Spells, effects, and particles be looking cleaner than the top of Mr. Clean's head, and you don't need to have some beast mode computer to run it either. Just a 1060 GTX and you're good to go. Time for them general mechanics. You can walk around, use one of your 5 abilities that you can equip, use a potion. A neat little detail about potions is that if you're full on potions and you walk over another one, it automatically uses a potion that's in your inventory. Just a cool little quality of life thing. Moving on, you can use a town portal, which is a portal to the town. Go in it, drop your bullshit off, and continue on your merry way. Open up a shitload of menus. You got inventory, character sheet, skill menu, passive skill menu, and crafting. You can cast an ability even if you don't have enough mana to cast it, however it puts you in debt just like in real life. And it gives you negative mana, which you need to gain back to cast another ability. Lastly, gold and crafting materials are auto pickup, so they'll get sucked into you like Twinkies at a fat ass convention. As for things to do, you got main quests and side quests, which essentially boil down to go here, talk to a guy, touch a thing, or kill things. Nothing really revolutionary here in my opinion, just standard ARPG stuff. There's dungeons which are pretty much the same. You go in them and smoke everything. Fight a boss at the end, pay Skydaddy to get better and or different types of chests, and then get the chests. Dungeons cost a key to start, and dying or leaving causes you to fail, so don't do that. You can also unlock harder tiers for better loot. Eventually there will be PvP, and a dev on the forum had this to say about it, so yeah, I don't know. Lastly, you can look up the game guide, which has information about pretty much anything you want to know about in Last Epoch, from combat mechanics to crafting skills, and the best part, it has a search bar. As mentioned earlier, you can equip up to 5 abilities on your hotbar. Here's some examples. Exclaim, "Hiya!" as you do in the anime slash attack. Play Ring Around the Rosie, and instead of posies, fill your pockets with the souls of your enemies. This purple aura thing is a form of CC. It sends enemies caught in it to a different timeline for 5 seconds, and they come back after 5 seconds. It's good for creating some space to catch your breath or heal up. You can do the jump slam attack to bid your enemy next adieu. The wolf summon ability, which summons a few good boys to take care of the not so good boys, and shoot some icicles and shit. There's a ton more, but I think this paints a pretty decent picture. There is of course a crafting system, which is actually fairly in-depth. For a general explanation, each item has a set numerical value of forging potential. You get runes, glyphs, and shards from killing shit. You spend forging potential to slap said runes, glyphs, and shards on an item, and they do things like this. However, once you spend all the forging potential of an item, you can no longer add shit to it. So if you find a sick-ass weapon, you better only put sick-ass shit on it, and that way you get the best possible weapon. Here's the map. If you'll notice at the top of the map, there's the Ancient Era, Divine Era, and so on. Each one of these represents a different point in time. It's all the same world and locations, but just at different points in time, so you see how the planet and the inhabitants change from timeline to timeline. I personally find that pretty interesting, and one of the things that makes it unique, story-wise, that is. Anyway, it gets progressively worse for the world of Iterra until it is eventually blown up and pieces of it are just floating around in space. There's also node-based fast travel, which saves a lot of time. Also, there's a Diablo-esque map overlay. Push the button and it appears. Aside from changing the difficulty of dungeons, which is locked behind level gates, there's no difficulty adjuster for Last Epoch. There's a few game modes which you can mix and match to sort of change the difficulty if you count permadeath no respawn with hardcore mode as a difficulty modifier. Or, what about solo account found mode where you don't have access to your shared stash? Turning on masochist mode is kind of a difficulty setting, I guess, because it does this. However, it's currently disabled, so you will not be gaining pleasure from pain for the time being. Overall though, on standard difficulty, the game is pretty easy. For enemy variety, you have your standard ARPG trash mobs. Lightly breathe in their general direction and they will explode with the force of 100 thermonuclear bombs. Then you have blue and yellow enemies similar to Diablo. These usually have some kind of special ability that you need to avoid or change your playstyle to deal with. These enemies can survive a lot of light breaths and they also get modifiers like these. Note that these change from time to time. Lastly, there's bosses, which can survive several leaf blowers firing at them all at once. Bosses have even more special abilities. As an action RPG, every time you kill a dude, open a chest, or anything of the sort, you'll be rewarded with a sparkly pile of loot. Pick it up and look at it. You got weapons, armor, trinkets, and other standard RPG things. And of course, crafting material. Get them and click the button to suck them into your crafting item window and save space. This is your stash. You can access it at the main towns. Like Diablo, you can throw the shit you want to use later into it. You can also make preset tabs that filter your items for you, and best of all, there's a search bar which can help you find anything besides empathy in the heart of a politician. For character customization, you can equip a helmet, a necklace, a main hand and offhand weapon, some chest armor, 2 rings, a pants holder upper to hold up your non-existent pants, some hand socks, some outer feet socks, and an idle thingy. Standard shit. They give you stats and make your abilities better. Here's a bunch of them. You got classes. There's the Sentinel, which is a paladin with extra steps, the sneaky rogue lady, the magic fella, the lonely mountain man that has a pet bear, and the dark magic lady. Each class has several subclasses which you can eventually spec into to unlock abilities that pertain to that class, and they do things like this. Then, as you gain XP, you can put skill points into those abilities to change how they work like this. And of course there's cosmetics. Spend that bread to get a new head. You can play Last Epoch with up to 4 players in a party. Run around and do quests and dungeons with your friends and send them items and shit through the mail or accuse them of doxing you in the world chat. Then eventually, as I said earlier, there's gonna be PvP. Apparently go to a coliseum or something and you can do 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, or free-for-all. There's gonna be a ranked ladder and you'll be able to earn cosmetics through PvP. There really weren't many glitches or bugs except this one time where I got locked in an ability animation. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This game is coded and put together pretty well. Overall, Last Epoch is a really well optimized and coded game with tons of little quality of life features that I'd like to applaud the devs for again. The stash options, the loot filters, auto gold pickup, the UI, the game guide, all really helpful. The gameplay is fun if you like the overhead of Path of Exile and other Diablo-style games. There's just something therapeutic about walking around and being able to just completely decimate every moving thing on your screen. The character customization is way more in-depth than Atlantis. There's just so many different builds you can create, and that's what makes this style of game have replayability and will keep you hooked. On our patented 0 to 1 scale, we rate this game a 0.85 out of 1. Like, yes, it's a solid, fun game with good customization, but it doesn't do anything that would make you be like, holy shit, Last Epoch has this. If you enjoyed this no bullshit review of Last Epoch, like this video and then travel back in time to like all of our other videos that you enjoyed and didn't press like on. Toss us a sub, preferably turkey, and comment on how fucking stupid my jokes are. Thank you, good night, and remember, he who eats ass fears gas.